not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the I am, and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the I am, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the I am, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the I am, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the I am, they shall inherit the earth. Yes, for yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. But the I am shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked shall have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the I am upholdeth the righteous. The I am knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. Psalms chapter 37, verses 1 through 18. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. And we thank God for those of you that are here. We thank God for the Most High, who has blessed you to even be able to hear what is being said and what is being read. Yes, and we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about, poking your head in and out. And we thank the Most High for those of you that are considering subscribing. We thank the Most High for those of you who have subscribed, and calling those things that are not as though they are. All praises to the Most High. Yes. We're in the book of Job, chapter 41. Yes, chapter 41. And I like that Psalms. They're not going to be forever. They might chase you even to the grave. Even after the grave, they want to chase you, but then that's where it stops. Because man can only go so far. After that, it's the judgment. They only can kill you once. They only can delete you once. That's it. But God knows that the day of the wicked is coming. He does not consider that there's an afterlife. Many do not believe that there's any that can challenge his power. Look at the nations, the presidents, the leaders that think that no one can challenge their power. But even today, God knows that what? He sees the days of the wicked are numbered. Why even worry about it? The days of the wicked are, he will move them out of your place. Whether it be one or two, a cabinet or a whole group. But many times God does this to test you. Because you are the one that should bring forth the fruit of righteousness, the fruit of praise, the fruit that God can come by and hear a virtuous life and see, and just the beauty of holiness to behold you. Yes. God's trying to polish, he's not trying, God wants to polish you up. That the Most High may treat you even as Moses, to want even his presence is not contaminated by your life. Yes. Yes, we're in the book of Job, Job chapter 41. The Most High still corrects Job. We say, how does the Most High correct Job? Job didn't do nothing. Job complained about how things happened. Job complained, yet Job was perfect and upright. Job complained about, how can this thing be after I've done so much, and deep in my heart I know I have honored the Most High. I went for or to the statutes, commandments, ordinances, and laws that I know. Job knew these things. Now, see, his name might not be Job, it might be a whole different name or something close to the name Job. Because there was no J in that time. Job. Could have been Job. But you have to realize, the colonizer, he changes the name that he might own that or coin that phrase or whatever in the past and even today. Now, verse 1. Canst thou draw out the Leviathan with an hook? What is a Leviathan? There are so many definitions of what a Leviathan is. Let's see how the Most High talks about the Leviathan. Or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down. In other words, the Leviathan is very heavy, very big and strong. Okay, I got you there. Canst thou put a hook in his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Can you really get that close to such a creature? Will he make many supplications unto thee? In other words, are you that powerful that this big Leviathan, this big creature can say, please don't put a hook in my mouth, Mr. Human? No, it's not going to happen that way. Will he speak soft words unto thee? No, most creatures, most animals only go by their instincts. They have a sense of things like we as humans, but not to that point. Their instincts rule in every situation. And many do not even have fear. No fear. And some of them are small as rats and have no fear. That we can measure. He says, now, will he make a covenant with thee? With this big creature of the sea, I believe it's of the sea, make a covenant with thee? Will he make an agreement with ye, or some type of treaty or something? Why would this type of creature even trust you as a man when those in your history of different skins and all of this, even your own people, have violated or breached their treaties and agreements and covenants? No, will he make that? And wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Even in the book of, I believe, Jubilees, one of them says that the black man will be a servant forever, but we see that's not true. Because of the color of his skin. That is not true. At all. See, this is what we have to really look at the Bible, and based on today's societies and today's evidence, to say this is not true. And I can truly say that. I think it was Jubilees, when Moses was king over, I believe it was Somali. Yes, the first cataract after Egypt. He come out through the Nile, through Egypt. The Fertile Cataract is just a big rock, big formation of rocks that's in the middle of the river, and the ocean, it falls around it. It has so many cataracts. That's what they call them, cataracts. Now, again, he says, now he will make a covenant with thee, wilt thou take him for a servant forever? I don't think it's something that big can serve anybody. Unless he go catch his mouth full of fish and spit it out upon the land. Will he make a covenant with thee? Now, wilt thou play with him as a bird? Too big. Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? What is this Leviathan? What is this Leviathan? Shall the companions take the banquet of him? Shall they part him? He's speaking as a foolish man would speak. You have many foolish men in the world today that speak, and God shows them up in many ways. You can take it politically, even in today's events. How the Most High have given one man wisdom to hide his riches, where another man comes and tries to take it, but yet gets very little. Wow, the Most High is marvelous. Yes, he is. Oh, hallelujah. Glory to the Most High. He says in verse 6, shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? In other words, you're going to catch him and cut him up, put a hook in his mouth, and you're going to cut him up like a fish, skin him, and sell fillets. He says, can thou fill his skin with barbed irons? We're talking about Leviathans here. Or his head with fish spears? You think you can do all of this to this thing, Job? I've created this thing, Job. This thing is most powerful that I've created. Look at the smallest creature, a badger. The lions are even thwarted by him. He doesn't fear, doesn't back off. No. The Most High is so wise and marvelous, even defies what we think we know as science. The law of the badger skin is much different than we can imagine. Who have prevented me? Okay, let's go back to 10. None is so fierce that dare stir them up. Who then is able to stand before me? Hold it. You have this big, powerful creature that is before you, and you cannot even defeat him in no way, form, or fashion. This creature is in the seas. This Leviathan. There is nothing known at your time that can defeat this creature. Maybe in today's time, yeah. He says, now, this creature is so powerful that there's nothing you can do with him but just respect this creature. Now, let's put it this way. Who is then able to stand before me? Who? Even Job and all the righteousness and perfect and uprightness that the Most High declared that Job was. He says, who? Then you got your Esau that was down here and yet contaminated even by the touch of men and women according to the law. We don't know if he's been touched by a woman in her woman time, or her cycle, as some of you understand it. We don't know if he was real. But the fact is that even in that time, what is righteous? And then he gets up out of the grave and said, don't touch me. Well, you've been touched the whole time. How in the world are you going to be with God and your flesh was touched anyway? Even Moses, who stood before the Most High to behold as the Most High passes to see the rear. When he came down out of the mount, they couldn't even behold him. No, no one. And yet you get some old crazy cockamamie preacher talking about, yeah, I got the anointing of God upon me. Fool. I think you just as ignorant as the dog that sits up there and pees on your crops while you trying to pick them. You got trickery and deceitfulness upon you. Says now, he says now, who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Who have stopped me that I should give? Who have saved me or whatever? Who have done this that I should repay him for doing this? No man can say, you can't defend God. You cannot pay God back. You cannot. God won't pay you either. You get done nothing for God. Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. Woo, my. Whatsoever is under the sky is mine, is what the Most High is saying unto Job. It's mine. The Most High been saying this throughout the whole thing. So if it's all, not if, all being the Most High's, who are we to have another God before the Most High? Who are we to contribute the earth to anything? A mother nature, a father time. Who are we? These are paganistic terminologies. And putting the Most High behind the back, putting them in the back of the bus. That's what that is. Who are we? Woman is God because the baby came out of her. No, if that's the case, then a monkey or a rat or a doggone dog is God because they're puppies and they're baboons or whatever, their cubs have come out of them. That's just the way God made things, the nature of it as God made it, to reproduce after their kind. And so he chose the female, patterned after the male, to produce more females, to reproduce more males, to reproduce more females. How foolish can we be as mortals? Oh, my. I kind of feel this thing here. Foolish. He says, whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. Who are you to kill another human being? To steal, commit adultery, to lie, to extort, to steal, to covet his manservant, a maidservant, his children, his dog, his whatever is a neighbor that is his. Who are you to lie to your parents? They belong to God. You grieve over your children, God takes them away. Job understood this. My children belong to God before they belong to me. God give me them and God take it away. You're so attached to your kids to the point where they can manipulate you and cause you to lose out on God. Your relatives. Yes. And woman, you ain't got no business marrying no man if you've done that before the marriage and you married a ill-gotten man or one who walketh contrary to the word of the Most High, then man or woman, you have a problem. Excuse me. You really have a problem. He says now in verse 12, I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride. Shut up together as with those close, with a closed seal. One is so near to the other that no air can come between them. Sounded like a garfish to me, but it's not that big. Could be one as big as a gar. Now that gar has scales, and that scale is some thick armor, but it can be pierced. if you have 10 snips. Yes. They are joined together. They stick together. They cannot be sundered. Like a dragon in a way. As the fictitious dragon comes about, you have the scales are like, they can use it as shields and armor, but how did they get the dragon's armor off if it's that strong? By seeing a light does shine. His eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. So this Leviathan is something. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostril go smokes, and out of a seething pot or cauldron his breath kindles coal. You have the behemoth, then you have the Leviathan. And a flame goeth out of his mouth, and his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned to joy before him. Is that literally what he's saying? Is that you cannot faze him. There's nothing you can do. And the same thing for the one who is rooted and grounded and following the ways of the Most High. There's no way you can bring them down until there's an ounce of doubt that brings fear. Yeah. He says, now the flakes of his flesh are joined together, and they are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is firm and a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of nether millstone. There's no way. His heart is, he does what he wants to do, and there's nothing you can do to turn him around. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid by reason of breaking, and they purify themselves. The sword of him that slayeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are not turned with him into stubble. In other words, this creature on the inside has he has an ectoskeleton in a way. In other words, his firm and armor is like your bones on the inside, like an armadillo. But yet on the inside, he's spirit. And you imagine how these people get these different dragons and stuff. There's no way a human's eyes can light up a real, with this flesh and blood, can light up like a spirit, but yet he's covered with flesh. No, it can't be that way. No way. Now, he said he esteemed his, in verse 28, the arrow cannot make him flee. Slingshots are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughed at the shaking of the spear. Sharp stones are under him, and he spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. And he maketh the deep to boil like a pot, and he maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. This is the way God is. You cannot use the things of men to defeat God. So they invented Jesus. They invented your Yahushua, your Yahusha. This is what they invented. Because you have to realize even the Ethiopian Bible was written by the Romans. Period. And although they had all those books put there, where did they get those letters from? I wonder. I mean, how can you, these letters were written all over the Roman jurisdictions, and how did they wind up in one book? Your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, your Romans, your Hebrews, your James, your John. Very ingenuitive, very good at what they did. And then you got your Quran. And you ask yourself, how did these things come about? But nevertheless, these are the gods of men that have been damned from the beginning. Yes, that's what they are. The religions of men, the way the idolatries and all the things that they do. leave it alone. What is that to you? Don't even try to convert them. Because the fact is that the Most High will do what the Most High will do. Some people are made for honor and some for dishonor. It's not for you to determine who's what, but for you to live that which God has charged you to live and do. That's right. It's nothing to you. The Most High is known throughout all the world before Jesus told his people to go and proselyte the whole world. What a joke. But either way, let's wrap this up. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot, and he maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. You're talking about way down into the depths of the sea where there is magma. Not too far under the sea, just a few layers under that sea is magma. There is molten earth. You've gone so deep. It's so cold. But yet if you go a little bit deeper, you're going to find out it's going to start getting warm. He says, now he maketh the deep boil like a pot. You even have your, your geyser, your hot springs and all these things. And he maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. You know, there's something's wrong with this deep. It's kind of squiggly. Just like the hoary head of an old man. Upon the earth there is not like his like. There is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is king over all the children of pride. This is an allegory. This is what God has given Job to show how he does have pride. Just like the behemoth, a person walking in their own pride, your own narcissism, all these things is like the Leviathan. You're like the behemoth. Yes. It's an allegory that God has given Job to show that in the least that you can do, you're walking in your pride. But yet, to the Most High, Job was very careful. He was more careful than anybody on earth at that time to stay humble before the Most High. Not to the point of letting somebody slap him twice and thrice. No. Somebody run over him like an idiot. No. But that Job was fair. That is true. The way God is fair. And the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances prove how fair the Most High is. And that's what we ought to be. Fair according to how the Most High shows us to be fair. And if we do those things that are right and fair according to the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High, we will have